Peach Orchard Creations, and welcome to week 6 of Quilt Camp Quilt Along 2021. This week we're on our 5th block, and it is the crosswind block. Thankfully this block is full of half square triangles, and with us having done quarter square triangles last week, we've got all the practice in the bag to make this a nice and relaxing block. So let's jump to it and get our fabric cut up. Okay, so I've got all of the beautiful fabric cut here. The coolest part is I was able to cut it all from scraps from last week, except for the tender green because last week didn't have the fabric E, but that wasn't a problem. Went ahead and cut those. So I've got all those nice and cut, and half square triangles are constructed. It's the first step of the quarter square triangle like we did last week. So let's go through that real quickly. And so pretty much we're gonna pair all B and C fabrics together and all D and E fabrics together. So I'll grab these. I'm gonna just mark the one set, the one side of my half square triangles. And you can, like I said, use a hair marker, a heat removing pen, or a disappearing ink, either water or air pen. There's tons of options out there. I like the Hera marker. These patterns, again, it does not matter because you're cutting on the line that you mark, so it's literally no big deal if you can see the line. It's not a problem because you're gonna cut right on top of it in a minute. So let me get all these marked. Okay, now to the fun part. We're gonna sew a 1/4 inch down each side of the line we marked, and I'll get that knocked out real fast. And there you go. I've got one side, so now I'll go back and do the other side of all of these. And all of that is sewn together, and then we'll cut right down the center of all of those. So find my line that I sewed on, line it up, and cut away. So we're going to press to the darker colored fabric, and then we are going to trim these up and get them to the right size. So all of these are ironed out. And let me say this, I am like a diagram sewer. I have a hard time slowing down and actually reading the pattern, and I just make I make it off the diagram. So in the pattern, she breaks it down for you, and she has you sew one half square triangle and then these together later. So feel free to go by the pattern. I kind of did it in a batch order because I've already done this block before, so my bad. As I was reading that just a second ago, I was like, oh. So I just want to make sure y'all are aware of that. You can do it by that. I'm just doing it in a batch type way, so for the recording. So, alrighty. Now it's time to trim up. My favorite trim up ruler is this Creative Grids 6.5 inch ruler. It just for some reason is my favorite beyond favorite trim up ruler. So we're going to trim up these big blocks to 5.5 inches into a 5.5 inch square, and that's super duper simple with these lovely, with this lovely ruler. Okay, rotate, fly off the table, and trim up. The reason I love this ruler, A is it's got really clear lines, but there's not, some rulers have like a line and then like a bubble around the line. So it's hard to see the actual line. Creative Grids just has the line. When you're squaring this up, since these are just half square triangles, the biggest part is you want your 45-degree line of your square ruler on your seam, okay? And then you just trim her up all nice and pretty. And then you'll have these beautiful, beautiful half square triangles. So I'm gonna beast through these and then we'll start piecing the block. Now, all of these little guys get trimmed up. So same setup, you're gonna make sure that the fabric is past the 3-inch mark on your ruler, line up the 45-degree, and then trim and trim. Alrighty, so I've got everything squared up, trimmed up. These get to be used as is, which is super nice. It is the perfect day for me to be making this crosswind block because it is so crazy windy outside. So let's start laying out our block. Okay, we've got B, and then these, U. And this block I think is really neat because it is pieced, so we make the vertical rows and then piece the vertical rows together instead of the horizontal rows like a majority of other patterns. So I think that's really cool how she thinks outside the box and did this where we're piecing vertical rows to get a really cool look, which I find super, super interesting. I don't think I would have thought of that for sure. Alrighty, so there are my 3 rows, and double check your diagram. I don't know why I say I sew by graphics and then the final block diagram like gives me the hardest time ever. So don't ask me why. So we've got all the B fabric arrows pointing to the top left of the block, and we've got all the E fabrics pointing down to the bottom right of the block. So just check that all the tips are going the right direction, okay? And then we get to sew these all together. So let's get rolling. I'm gonna first sew my little ones together and knock those out for the rows. It doesn't have any preferences on seams, so that's cool. Y'all, these little irons are so awesome. They are toasty little boogers, let me tell you. Bam, boom, bop. Get my reference? It's Instagram reel sound. Go ahead and put these 2 together for this row. Another cool part about this block is the colors stay, the same colors stay together the whole way through, so it's a little more challenging to get turned around. I still can do it, but it's a little more challenging than with some of our other blocks where we're mixing different colors and different steps and stuff. So that is really nice. This is a really relaxing block to make, honestly. So that makes me really excited for y'all to do this. Alrighty, there we go. And now I can just piece the vertical rows. And see how quickly this comes together is a huge, huge bonus to this block. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now I literally just zip these together and we're finished. Yeah. Okay, so I did make one small fib. Right down here, here and here, these seams match up, and here, these seams match up. So I pressed these little squares open. See how my seam's going that way and going this way? And thankfully that helped me have the seams going in the opposite directions here because I pressed this big half square triangle open. Okay, so towards the yellow, and so that both of these ended up being opposite because I pressed outward from the little squares, or if it was a solid square and a half square triangle, I pressed towards the yellow. Okay, so that helped me. My seams are in opposite directions, those two spots where they match. If they're not, don't stress. Do not stress at all. This is a stress-free camp, folks. Stress-free. You're just supposed to have fun. Look how beautiful. So stinking pretty. Turn my iron down. I mean, look at these crisp point matchups right there. Look at that. That's so, so beautiful. So there you have it. There is your crosswinds block. Shake off all the threads. This is your friendly reminder to get your your picture of your block up by Sunday night so you can be entered to win this week's giveaways. Huge shout out to Lamb and Loom Fabrics and Lavender Fields for sponsoring this week, and I am just so grateful for this opportunity to have this time with you to hopefully teach you a few things maybe you didn't know, or just a better or a different way to do something. And I hope you're enjoying Quilt Camp. This is a no stress zone, just have fun. And feel free to reach out to us, share. We love seeing every single block. It makes our hearts explode. So until next time, happy quilting, and I'll see you next week. Bye.